It was a chilly autumn afternoon in downtown Chicago. People hurried along the sidewalks, wrapped in coats and scarves, eager to escape the biting wind. Among them was 12-year-old Maya, a homeless black girl who had been living on the streets for months. She wandered near a grocery store, her stomach growling, when she noticed an elderly woman struggling with several heavy shopping bags. Without hesitation, Maya stepped forward. "Ma'am, do you need some help?" she asked, offering a small but sincere smile. The old lady, startled at first, studied the girl's worn-out clothes and tired eyes. After a brief pause, she nodded. "Oh, that would be lovely, dear." Maya carefully lifted the bags, walking beside the woman toward her car. But just minutes later, as she turned to leave, the sound of sirens filled the air. The old lady had called the police. As Maya set the bags down beside the woman's car, she wiped her hands on her worn-out jeans and gave a polite nod. "There you go, ma'am. Have a nice day," she said, turning to walk away. But before she could take more than a few steps, the old lady gasped. "My wallet! It's gone!" Maya froze. She turned back, confused. "What?" "My wallet was in one of these bags, and now it's missing." The woman's voice trembled, her frail hands clutching her purse. A cold wave of panic swept over Maya. She hadn't touched anything but the bags. She knew that for sure, but she could see it in the woman's eyes. Suspicion, fear, doubt. People around them began to slow down, watching. A man nearby muttered something under his breath. Another woman clutched her handbag tighter. Maya's throat went dry. I didn't take anything," she stammered, her pulse quickening. The old lady fumbled inside her purse with shaking fingers. Then, she pulled out her cell phone. The moment she started dialing, Maya realized what was happening. She was calling the police. Maya took a step back, then another. She had seen this before. A missing item. A poor black girl in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sirens were already echoing in the distance. Someone must have seen the scene unfold and called the cops before she could even plead her case. Maya's mind raced. Should she run, stay and try to explain? The old woman was still searching her bags, her brow furrowed in worry. But then, something caught her eye, just as the police cars pulled up. A small brown leather wallet. It had slipped between the folds of a grocery bag, wedged behind a box of cereal. The old lady's face turned pale. She hesitated, fingers hovering over it. The officers were stepping out of their cars now. A small crowd had gathered, whispers buzzing in the air. Would she say something? Would she tell them the truth? Or would Maya's fate be sealed before she even had a chance to defend herself? The police cars pulled up, red and blue lights flashing against the glass windows of nearby shops. The crowd that had gathered grew tense, waiting for the inevitable. Maya stood still, her heartbeat thudding in her ears. The old woman's fingers hovered over the wallet, her face a mix of realization and something else. Shame, maybe. But she didn't say a word. The first officer stepped forward, tall and broad-shouldered, scanning the scene. His gaze landed on Maya, then flicked to the woman. "Ma'am, what happened?" The old lady hesitated. Her lips parted as if to speak, but then her eyes darted toward the onlookers, toward the silent judgment waiting on their faces. Maya could see it all unfold, the choice hanging in the air. The officer's stance, the crowd's assumptions, the weight of a single accusation. And then, just as quickly, the woman's shoulders slumped. She reached into the grocery bag, pulling out the wallet. Oh dear, she murmured. It was here all along. The tension in the air didn't break. It only shifted. The officer raised an eyebrow, looking between Maya and the woman. Is there a problem here? He asked again. The old lady clutched the wallet in both hands, pressing it to her chest. She shook her head. No, no problem. A few murmurs rippled through the crowd, but people started to drift away. The officer gave Maya a hard look before turning back to his squad car. No apology, no acknowledgement, just another false alarm. The old woman turned toward Maya. For a moment it seemed like she might say something. Thank you, I'm sorry, anything. But in the end, she only clutched her bags tighter and shuffled toward her car. Maya watched her go, a familiar hollowness settling in her chest. The cold wind picked up again, carrying the distant hum of traffic and the fading echoes of sirens. She pulled her hoodie over her head and walked away. No one stopped her. No one ever did. Maya walked briskly, pulling her hoodie lower over her face. The city moved around her, indifferent as ever. Cars honking, people talking, footsteps clicking against the pavement. The moment that had just unfolded, the accusing eyes, the flashing lights. It all dissolved into the endless churn of downtown life. But inside her it remained. She stuffed her hands into her pockets, trying to push the memory away, but her body still carried it. The tightness in her chest, the way her stomach had dropped when the sirens screamed closer, the way the old woman had hesitated, wallet in hand, deciding if Maya deserved the truth. Maya already knew the answer. A couple of blocks away, she ducked into a narrow alleyway, her usual refuge. A few other homeless folks huddled near a dumpster, bundled in layers against the evening cold. She didn't stop to talk. Instead, she climbed up onto an old wooden crate and hoisted herself onto the fire escape of an abandoned building. The metal rattled beneath her weight, but she moved quickly, knowing exactly where to place her hands and feet. At the top, she settled onto the rooftop, pulling her knees to her chest. From here, she could see the city stretch out before her. So big, so full of people. But none of them saw her. She let out a long breath, watching it curl in the cold air. Then something made her pause. Down on the street below, the old woman was back. She stood at the corner, clutching her bags, looking around as if searching for someone. Maya frowned. Had she forgotten something? Then she saw it, the way the woman kept glancing down the street, shifting nervously. She wasn't just waiting, she was looking for someone. A man emerged from the shadows near a lamppost, his coat too big, his steps too careful. Even from this distance, Maya recognized the type. She had seen men like him before, lurking near shelters, waiting around soup kitchens. The kind of man who didn't just want money, he wanted something else. The woman took a step back. He took a step forward. Maya's pulse quickened. She could walk away. She should walk away. But her feet didn't move. She had helped the woman once already today, and for that she had almost been arrested. Would she risk it again? Below, the man was speaking now, his body language shifting, becoming more aggressive. The old woman clutched her purse tighter, shaking her head. Maya exhaled sharply. "Damn it," she muttered, and before she could stop herself, she was climbing back down. She didn't owe the woman anything, but that didn't mean she could let this happen. Maya hit the pavement running. She dodged past a couple of pedestrians, her breath sharp in the cold air. The man was getting closer to the old woman now, his posture shifting, his body angled just enough to cut off her escape. Maya had seen this play out before, first a demand, then a grab, sometimes a shout, sometimes worse. She reached them just as the man's hand shot out. "Hey!" Maya's voice rang out, sharper than she expected. The man turned, surprised. Up close, she could see his sunken eyes, the way his fingers twitched, either from the cold or something else. The old woman looked at Maya, just as startled, as if she couldn't quite believe the girl had returned. "What do you want, kid?" the man muttered, shifting his weight. Maya squared her shoulders. She was small, but she knew how to stand firm, how to look unfazed. "The lady doesn't want trouble," she said. "So maybe you should keep walking." The man's lips curled into something between a sneer and a smirk. "And what are you gonna do if I don't?" Maya didn't flinch. She'd learned long ago that fear made people like him bolder. Instead, she took a step closer, angling her body slightly toward the streetlight so it cast a shadow behind her, making her look bigger than she was. "You see that store across the street?" she said, nodding toward a small convenience shop. "There's a security camera pointed this way, and inside, a clerk who's seen me before." She wasn't sure if that last part was true, but it didn't matter. "I yell, and you've got a real problem." The man hesitated. He glanced at the store, then back at Maya. A beat passed, then another. Finally, he scoffed, stuffing his hands into his coat pockets. "Not worth it," he muttered, stepping back. "Crazy little brat." Maya held her ground until he turned and disappeared into the shadows. Silence settled between her and the old woman. The city noise carried on around them, but in this small pocket of space, it was just the two of them. The woman let out a shaky breath. I don't know what to say." Maya shrugged. "Don't worry about it." But the woman's expression was strange. Something beyond gratitude, beyond relief. "Maya," she said suddenly. Maya froze. She hadn't told the woman her name. The old lady's lips parted, as if she wanted to say more. Then, before Maya could ask how she knew, the woman took a step forward and, for the first time that day, looked at her differently. Not with suspicion, not with fear, with recognition. Maya's chest tightened. Who was she? And how did she know Maya's name? Maya stiffened. Her name. The way the old woman had said it, it wasn't just a guess. It was certain, familiar. She took a small step back. "How do you know my name?" The woman didn't answer right away. She pressed the wallet to her chest as if steadying herself. Up close, Maya could see her hands trembling. Not just from the cold, but from something deeper. The woman hesitated. "I knew your mother." Maya's breath caught in her throat. Her mother. That word had no place in Maya's world anymore. Not for years. She clenched her jaw, shaking her head. "No, you don't." "I do." the woman insisted, her voice softer now. Her name was Olivia, wasn't it? Maya's pulse pounded in her ears. The name hit like a punch to the gut. Nobody on the streets knew her mother's name. Nobody ever said it. It was buried, just like everything else Maya had lost. She took another step back. You're lying. The woman's eyes were wet now, glistening under the dim city lights. I worked with her, a long time ago, before everything. She swallowed. I never thought I'd see you again. Maya's stomach twisted. She didn't want to hear this. Didn't want some stranger peeling back a past she had long since locked away. Her feet screamed at her to run. That was the rule. When things got too close, too personal, you left before they could hurt you. But she didn't move. Because deep down she needed to know. She took a shaky breath. If you knew my mom, then tell me. Her voice wavered. Tell me what happened to her. The woman's expression changed. A flicker of something dark crossed her face. Hesitation, maybe even fear. She didn't leave you, Maya, the woman whispered. She was taken. Maya's heart stopped. Taken? The city noise faded. The cold air felt sharper against her skin. She had spent years believing her mother had abandoned her, that she had walked out one day and never looked back. But this woman was saying something else, something that made Maya's blood turn to ice. Before she could speak, before she could demand answers, the woman's eyes darted past her, toward the street. Maya turned just in time to see a black car rolling to a stop at the curb. The back window lowered. And inside, a pair of eyes were watching her. Maya's body tensed. The black car idled at the curb, its engine humming low and steady. The tinted window was down just enough for her to see a pair of eyes, cold, unreadable, watching. Her instincts screamed at her to run. The old woman seemed to shrink beside her, her fingers tightening around her purse. Maya, she whispered urgently, you need to go. Maya's breath came shallow. Who is that? The woman didn't answer, but the fear in her face told Maya everything. The car door opened. A man in a dark coat stepped out, moving slow, deliberate, not rushing because he didn't need to. Maya knew that kind of confidence. Predator confidence. Her heart pounded. Was this connected to her mother? To the life she had spent years trying to forget? No time for answers, only choices. Run or stay. Her body chose for her. She spun on her heel, bolting toward the alley. The cold air burned her lungs as she weaved between people, shoving past startled pedestrians. Behind her, the heavy thud of footsteps followed, too fast, too sure. She skidded around a corner, feet slipping on damp pavement. An old chain-link fence blocked the way. No time to think. She jumped, fingers scrambling for the top. Her arms burned as she pulled herself up, legs kicking for momentum. A hand grabbed her ankle. Panic surged through her. She twisted, kicking hard. A grunt. The grip loosened, just enough for her to yank herself over the fence and drop onto the other side. She hit the ground running. She didn't stop. Not until the city blurred around her. Not until her legs ached. Not until she was sure she had lost them. Finally, she collapsed onto the rooftop of an old building, gasping for air. Her mind spun. She had spent years thinking she was just another forgotten kid, just another homeless girl no one cared about. But someone had been watching. Someone had been waiting. And now, she knew the truth. Her mother hadn't abandoned her. She had been taken. And whoever was in that car, they weren't done looking for her.